we're going to pick one free agent from each position group of need to pay big bucks to. That's the whole theme of Break the Bank. So we're going to go through wide receiver, offensive line, edge, linebacker, cornerback, and safety. That is what, 6 positions? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm better at math. Take that. So 6 positions of need. We're gonna say from one big bank player that could break the bank for the Chiefs, who we would want to see on this Chiefs team. And at the end, we're gonna say, okay, this position, this guy right here is the one guy they should go after because Mark, both you and I probably agree they only got about enough money in the bank to go for one of these guys.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, they have a good team already, so that's I guess a good problem to have that you only have enough money to go for one of them. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would be fun to get one, maybe two of them. It would be pushing the envelope if you're going to be getting the big money guys. But yeah, get one of these big guys and re-sign some of your own, and maybe get back to the Super Bowl again.
Love to see that. So let's go ahead and get started with our first position in need, wide receiver. Um, Mark, why don't you start us off? Who is your break the bank candidate for wide receiver? I think I probably already know this one.
Yeah, this one is an easy one for me. I have a couple of guys that I used to do a blog with called WeWatchFootball.com,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both Bears fans. And so in our football group text throughout the entire NFL season, it's a lot of Chiefs and Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And they love Allen Robinson. They really are pissed at the management there for not signing him long term a couple of years ago.
Right. Yeah.
And so they just have assumed this whole time that he's just going to be walking because of the terrible quarterback situation and everything else that's gone on there. So Allen Robinson, while he does want his big contract, big money, I think he got one actually from Chicago there for a little bit. So this would be his second big contract. But I think he wants to get a ring too. And I think he wants to play with a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback for the first time in his career. He started out with the Jaguars with Blake
Right.
Bortles, terrible. So Allen Robinson coming to the Chiefs. I said this in my article as well. It would be perfect for Allen Robinson, perfect for the Chiefs team, and perfect for Chiefs fans. It would just be a perfect conglomerate of things coming together. If Allen Robinson could come to Kansas City, be that X receiver, healthy X receiver. I don't think he misses time at all. So that would be just a perfect addition in my mind.
I've got a buddy who's a Bears fan as well, and he is prepared to be very upset if he comes to the Chiefs. We've discussed that already. I sent, Allen Robinson tweeted out a video of him playing Madden as the Chiefs, and that kind of caught wind on Twitter, obviously, because what people do on Twitter is overreact to everything.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and what we did was overreact to it because I think I said something like, so Allen Robinson's coming to Kansas City, obviously. But what would have been awesome is when he was, it would have been funny when he was like adjusting, the formation. I don't know if you guys have watched the video, but he goes in and he adjusts like the wide receivers in the formation just to get the guys in the right routes. I thought it would have been awesome if all of a sudden he like would have took Sammy Watkins out and then added himself and been like,
Oh.
who?
So I totally thought that he did that, but it was DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah.
I saw Robinson and I was like, oh, he put himself on the Chiefs, but no, it was just DeMarcus. So I got really excited there for a split second. And yeah, but him even playing with the Chiefs, I mean, a lot of people when they're playing Madden, I mean, how is it not fun to play with the Chiefs? But yeah, that's something. And then you see, I guess I won't get into the edge right now, but I saw JJ Watt tweeting at Patrick Mahomes the other day. I mean, so yeah, you see these guys interacting and stuff. It's fun. But yeah, Allen Robinson would be my break the bank receiver for sure.
And I got Kenny Galladay there. I think Kenny Galladay kind of struggled to stay healthy this season, which is tough because he is a good receiver when healthy. I guess you could say the same thing about Sammy Watkins, right? But I think Kenny Galladay, to a point, I think he is younger. He's probably got a bit more tread left on the tires. I don't think he has as troubled an injury history as Sammy Watkins does. And I like Kenny Galladay, the type of receiver he is. He's a big bodied guy that can probably play that X role pretty well. So I think both, Allen and Galladay would be two good guys. If the Chiefs were to go after somebody in the wide receiver department, they could probably, I think Galladay is probably more realistic than Robinson, but I still think that they can sign Allen Robinson. I think that by shifting around some money, they can totally do it.
It would be it's interesting too with the Lions because the Lions just went over a coaching change. They traded their quarterback who's been there for over a decade. And so the receivers there are probably a little bit uncertain as well because they really don't know what's going on there. So him maybe wanting to sign back in Detroit's kind of up in the air, and maybe they'll franchise tag him. I don't know. I think he's just coming off his rookie deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would be a nice fit in Kansas City. I agree.
Yeah. I think getting some new blood in at wide receiver, really just some new blood on this team, is going to be pretty important, I think, in the free agent market. So let's move on to the offensive line, a position last season that was tooled by journeymen and swing tackles and journeyman swing tackles. So put them all together and you have Mike Rimmers. So
Yep.
when we look at the offensive line, Mark, who do you have wanting to come to Kansas City that you want to see in a red jersey next season?
The top of my list, I think he's going to go back to the team that he's on, but it would be great to have Trent Williams come in here. I know
Yes.
he's a little bit older, but he is like cream of the crop, top left tackle. And if you can have somebody like that protecting Patrick Mahomes, I mean, that's going to cost you a lot of money. But everybody loves Eric Fisher, what he's done here.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have to cut Eric Fisher, that would save some money. And you could probably make it happen. I mean, if you really wanted it to. But yeah, that would be a perfect piece to help protect Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think left tackle is probably the most important position on the offensive line right now because of Eric Fisher and his injury. We know that those take 6 to 12 months to recover from, and since his injury happened so late in the season, he's going to be out for probably a bit. And I know that's not very fun to say. And then the Chiefs are going to be forced with some cap circumstances with him being out so long. What do they do? Do they cut him? I think he only has 1 year left on his deal after this year. So it's pretty murky. I think the future of Eric Fisher in Kansas City is murky, to say the least. But I went with the guard. I went with Brandon Scherf from the Washington football team. I think that, and I keep going back to this point that Connor made because he really changed my mind, I think, on Austin Ryder. And I think Austin Ryder takes a lot of hate, probably unnecessarily, because if you look back at his 2019 season, he wasn't atrocious. If you look back at his 2020 season, he really wasn't atrocious either. I don't think he allowed a sack all season. It's his run blocking that gets him in trouble, but you could become a better run blocker with better guards. You give him better guards. If LDT comes back and he's in the shape that we anticipate him to be in the starting guard form, you give him Brendan Scherf as well. I think that middle is going to really sure up, and that'll give Patrick Mahomes a lot more confidence in that pocket because we've seen the interior offensive line confidence deteriorate throughout the season. That's why he drops back so far in the pocket. We spent plenty of time on the podcast talking about the pocket drifting and everything, probably more time than we should. But especially with the tackle situation probably being not as good as you want it to be, it'll be good for Patrick Mahomes to be able to stay in the pocket, maybe even step up in the pocket a little bit instead of drifting back. I know that's how Patrick Mahomes really makes his money, is drifting back and making things happen out the backside of the pocket. But if he can stay in the pocket and keep the tackles jobs a little bit easier, I think that will really sure up this offensive line and make it feel a little bit better. That's why I went with Scherf at guard there.